Hey, everybody. All of those people out there. Hello.
Angry Otter Comics is here.
Yes, he is.
How you doing there, the Angriest Otter?
Yeah.
Michael, good to see you, man.
Welcome to Finding Your Music Mojo with me. I'm TC, and she is Dawn from Two Hip Chicks.
I am. It's my responsibility because he doesn't want to be. So I have to be. There you go.
You have to be what?
I have to be Dawn from Two Hip Chicks. You don't want to be.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, you don't want to be TC from TKR Video Central either.
I couldn't rock the hat you're wearing, but I am wearing my slacker hat. I thought, what the hell? So yes, why not? It's hat day here today. It's like junior high. Happy hat and sock day.
Yep.
There you go.
So,
go ahead.
Oh, so what's shaking?
I told you my bad news for the weekend, obviously.
Yeah, I didn't know if you want to share it here, if you want to wait till tomorrow.
I think everybody knows if they've been on our show, and we'll talk about it tomorrow on my show as well. Our car got stolen this weekend, so we are without vehicle, or one. I mean, we have the older vehicle, but yeah. Hey, DC's here too. Hello, DC Sales. How are you? Yes, so that's been a shitty part of our weekend. Sorry. So, yeah, you might want to block that word out. But other than that, it's been a great weekend.
Angry Otto says we have an echo. Is it coming on your side? Because I hear a little bit. I hear a delay when I'm talking to you. So you got your speakers
not
up
sure. Do I need to put on headphones? Because I thought we could take care of that without, but maybe not. How about now?
I don't know. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
If I pick up something and look like it's working, I guess that's what intimidates StreamYard.
That's weird. I don't know what it is with StreamYard that does that all the time. Oh well.
Like, yeah, it's gone.
Did that clear it up? Hopefully that cleared it up.
DC says hope it works out. Yeah, thank you.
Yep. There's still it's still a little echo there when I talk to you, but it's just barely there to me. I don't know about everyone else.
Okay. I'll put on headphones if I need to, for sure.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll turn down my microphone. I could do that too. Might be picking up the
could be
or the external speaker. So yeah, I have, like I was telling TC, I have to wait 7 days before they will write it off as a total loss. So hopefully it's either returned or whatever in that time, and we just make it work.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, the echo is still there, so it's me. I can hear myself talking about 2 seconds after I talk, so I think that's all on your end. Yeah.
So, that's weird. All right, I'll try headphones. Talk to the people while I try headphones.
Okay. We were going to talk tonight, people, about various things, but we're going to start off with a site that I'm working on called recordstorerewind.com. This is a site that is designed to highlight record stores of the past, present, and future. It's along the lines of deadmalls.com, grossetcetera.com, Label Scar, where we want to bring up and really focus on record stores of the past and record stores of the present. And in order to make this site work, we need contributions from everybody. And it's really simple to contribute. There's a form on the site at recordstorerewind.com. And I also have a video up detailing some easy ways to go about it. Yeah, that does seem to have taken care of the echo, Don. And everything about record stores is what we want to promote, because record stores are great to have around, and nowadays with prices changing, who knows how long they're going to survive. With some places are going up and some places are coming in for the first time. Yeah, get something shiny. I agree with that. That's good. What do you have? You telling me you grew up in an area there weren't a lot of record stores where you were, right?
Yeah, it'll probably be a Nissan. Right. Exactly. So yeah, I wrote. I
think you're running way behind. You're way behind us, about 15 seconds.
That's cray.
All right, put your speaker back on. We'll deal with the slight echo in the background.
I guess I'm going to have to, because I could not hear myself talking.
Isn't
just-
live wonderful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, you said you grew up in an area that didn't have a lot of record stores.
Yeah, I did. And so it was mostly Meyer and Kmart.
Yeah.
I like to talk about Kmart. I love Kmart. And I used to go to Kmart and buy K-Tel records.
Yeah. K-Tel presents Music Explosion. 20 great hits, 20 fantastic artists, all for $4.99.
Exactly. Hey, Willow. Blanket to you too, dear. So yeah.
And welcome, Stacey May. Thank you.
And I didn't really go into any record stores until, or real record stores that actually carried only records or CDs or whatever, until later when I was an adult, and there was a couple local ones that sold multiple media, but yeah.
But you're like Kmart popcorn.
Kmart subs too; those were really good. Don't know
yeah,
why.
They were. I remember the Kmart where I grew up and where I spent most of my 20s in Lancaster had a cafeteria. I used to go there for lunch when I was working at the store down the mall, and it was cheap and good, and I didn't get much else there because they had a crappy record section. That one in Lancaster.
Did they really?
Yeah. Well, they didn't need it because Buzzard's Nest was right down the mall. You just Kmart and 2 more stores down, and you were right there. So
but weren't those was the rec? Now I'm trying to think. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in my Meyer, that was a rack jobber. That was like somebody who comes in, they rotate magazines out, they rotated records out.
Probably.
Kind of so
Meyer, the ones I used to go to, that was in Newark. They had a very small but serviceable record store area, and I would say it was probably rack jobbers that did it. Before Meyer actually bought out the store I bought most of my stuff in, a small chain called Twin Fair, which was known in Ohio and New York, and they had a huge record section in their store. And they were like, it was all divided in one side of the store in 4 rows, and it was great. I wish they had done that more when they were bought out later by Meyer, because it wasn't quite that big and didn't have that much service. They had a lot of good cutouts, though.
Yeah. Oh, DC said Ben Franklin and
Ben Franklin, yep. Ben Franklin, was the first place I ever bought records on a regular basis in a little town called Utica, Ohio. And that's the only place in around that carried records at the time. Hastings, we didn't have Hastings on the East Coast, so I think they're mostly a West Coast or Southern chain.
Well, yes. Hello, Patrick.
Hey, Patrick! Where's Mary? We need a recording of Mary doing that so we can play it.
No, exactly.
You remember Twin Fair, Patrick? You're old like me, right?
I guess I was brought up in a small cage, and I was let out periodically to buy records, and that was it. I guess I don't know. I was sent to Meyer to buy or Kmart to buy whatever, and I could not go anywhere else. There were just none. There was just nothing. I grew up in the Grand Haven, Michigan area. So if anybody knows that area, it is small. It is a bunch of small towns tacked to each other, and that a river crosses through. A river runs through it, as they say. So yeah, there was no big stores. There was no big city.
We actually still,
as we could get to a big city, and we never went there.
Yeah. Ben Franklin's still in Bethel, Ohio. Is it the one that we have up here that I know of is in Chatham, and it's all crafts now. They don't have any other things, any other kind of merchandise there. What is YG and Y? I'm not familiar with that store either.
TG and
or
Y.
TG and Y. Yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, what is a TG and Y?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know why. And Willow, there's
thank you.
Condolences out there. Appreciate yep. Ben Franklin, yeah. As soon as you walked in the door of Ben Franklin in Utica, there was a rack with like 4 album racks and a 45 rack and some cutouts along the top. And I spent a lot of money there when we lived in Utica because I never got to Newark or Mount Vernon to buy records very often. So it was.
You said it was a Kmart before Kmart. Okay, that kind of sets it up for sure. Yeah, I would love to have a time machine just to go back. I don't care about winning the lottery or anything. I want to go back and hit some of these places and take pictures and just kind of document it more, Yeah,
see, that's exactly what the site's going to be about. We want pictures. We want, whatever you got, your memories. And that's what Record Store Rewind is all about. We're doing box marts there too. So, where you remember these stores.
Oh, that's cool.
Kmart before Kmart. Yeah. Sort of pre-Walmart. Pre-Walmart, yeah.
Yeah, fan of Walmart.
Of course.
Merch. Oh, okay. I bought my
Oh wow,
first
yeah,
PS4.
cool.
Nice. Yeah, they had everything. No worries. No
I
worries,
never
Michael.
turn
You're
on
fine.
my phone for the same reason, Angry Otter. Never. Because I can't. Whenever I try to do tweets, it's just
I
terrible.
have big thumbs. Obviously, it doesn't work for me. I have big thumbs. I can't.
I remember very little about the early record stores that I went into because they didn't last very long. I was in grade school, and there was one on the Newark Square in Newark, Ohio, and one in the arcade in Newark off the square. And neither one of them lasted more than a few months. So the first ones that I really remember going to all the time were the ones in Washington when I lived on the coast. There was a DJ Sound City at Tacoma at South Center, and a Brass Ear, which was a local chain at Tacoma Mall, and I used to go to those two. And the one that I can't remember that provoked me to start this site, it was a little mom and pop style record store on 6th Avenue in the Highland Village Shopping Center. I was able to track down the name of the shopping center. I'll be damned if I can remember the name of the record store. This was 1975, so it's been ages ago. I can remember what the clerk wore. I can remember what the clerk looked like, but I'll be damned if I can remember the name of the store. It just makes me crazy.
That is nuts. So yeah, there was, and I remember also in that area we were in, there was a music store which is way out in the boonies that sold musical instruments, and they would also at times carry some records, right? So just kind of to diversify a little bit.
Yeah.
And of course now that store that was way out in the boonies is right in the heart of whatever thriving, retail landscape that's out there. So so I remember that one. I should probably put that one in because that was easy to remember. Because it's still there, really. It's just they don't do records anymore. Not that I'm aware of.
Mall-based chains. Yep, that's where it was with me too, Patrick. Coconuts, well, not Coconuts. That was freestanding, but Record Town, National Record Mart, Tape World. Magnolia Thunder Pussies is still there, Dave. Steve Carlson was there last year. Did a video tour, and it is still there. It's in the heart of the High Street near Ohio State University, and it is still going strong. Yeah, it is. I've never been in there, but it's you should see their commercials when they had commercials on TV. Only exclusively at Magnolia Thunder Pussies. It's like, okay.
Wow. Maybe they're on YouTube. I'll have to check them out. So Willow said she worked at a TG&Y as a newlywed. That would be fun, I would think.
Yeah, I guess. Mom and Pop Record Shop was on 6th Avenue here as well. Wizards. Oh, that's cool. Wizards is cool. And what part of the country is that, Willow? That's out west, right?
That's the cool part about this idea is because you'll get from everywhere, hopefully.
Yeah, that's exactly what Record Store Rewind is about. You have any memories of shopping there, what it was like, what the clerks were like, everything. There's a form on the site at recordstorerewind.com, and it gives you everything that you need to know. And if you got Kansas, cool. Yeah, Kim has a friend that lives in Kansas near Hutchinson, so I've been in touch with her.
A lot of people here remember a lot more than I do. That's for sure. That's crazy. But yeah, do you have the link down below or whatever?
The link to
the Record Store Rewind?
I don't. I should put that in the comments. Let me do that real quick. Hey.
Yes. So we had talked about old phone books, right?
Yeah.
So I was telling TC before we came live that Mary and I and Momster are going to go take a trip to the other side of the state to track down our lineage or whatever for the Momster. And we're going to hit a library. And I was thinking, hopefully a library may have some older phone books, if nothing else on microfiche or whatever, where I can pull up some information.
Yeah.
So I bet you it's out there. I bet you a lot of other people have access to, if they get a chance to maybe find some of that information out for you.
That's the phone book idea, which is something that you actually came up with.
Yeah.
How's that? There we go. We were talking after the last show we did, and Dawn came up with or 2 shows ago, and she had come up with, just mentioned this, and I had a epiphany
Yeah.
about phone books being the great source, but I couldn't find any online. So if you have old phone books out there and are willing to just go in and Xerox off the pages in the department stores, drugstores, record stores, variety stores,
Yeah, carry
electronic
that
stores,
stuff.
anything that might qualify, then definitely it's something that we definitely want to look at. Water beds and stuff. I don't know if it's still there. We used to have when I lived in Washington, there was a waterbed store that did sell records. They had a room in the back where they had a few record racks. It was called Magic Mushroom.
Huh.
This is in Spokane, Washington.
They still sell water beds anymore? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Our records exclusive 10 views.
I think that's mom and pop, right, Stacy?
Mom and poo works for me too. I'm not going to be picky about it. It's
Okay.
a typing issue again, remember?
Yep.
Tower Records. Oh.
Yep. Tower
Nice.
Records did everything too. They had the one in Boston was nuts. They had everything in there, and Cambridge too. Burlington was a little bit less equipped, but they were pretty good.
I was really bummed that I never got to go to a Tower Records.
Agreed.
I suppose when I go to Japan, I can just go to one, but
yeah, they had them up here until they shut down, and I don't think the only chain we still have in Boston is Newberry Comics, which is a Northeast chain. It runs. They're finally getting into New York and Connecticut, but it's mostly Massachusetts and New Hampshire and Maine. I don't know if there's any in Vermont either. And Maine, of course, has Bull Moose, but they haven't moved down this far yet. So, but there's a lot of good smaller chains out there, and yeah, those will be covered too, because we're going to cover record stores of the past, present, and future on Record Store Rewind. And memories and photos are always welcome. The phone book idea is so easy to do. There's an address you can send them to in the show notes.
I'm jealous. I'm jelly. Stacy May, I'm jealous. I am, man. I really would have loved to have gone to one of those, but just didn't work out. Wasn't in the cards.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, because Tower was great. They could find all kinds of good stuff. We had HMV up here for a while too. There was one. The good one was in Cambridge. The smaller one that wasn't that great was in Downtown Crossing in Boston. But they don't even have those, I don't think, or I think they've even shut those down in the UK. We stopped at one in London that was near when we were there for our convention, and it was, I liked the one in Boston and Cambridge better. So it was like, okay.
Was that because it was like your first, or was that just because it was a better store?
It was kind of cramped and didn't really have a lot. And I was like, yeah, because it's supposed to be near the train station. So people go in and out all the time. But I don't know if they ever took that off. I think it was a Virgin after it was HMV. So,
yeah.
And so was ours. Our tower was taken over by Virgin, and it was terrible. I went in there once and never went back because it was just so sterile compared to Tower. When you come up the second floor at the one on Newberry Street or it's corner of Newberry and Mass Ave, you go in and go up the second floor, because the first floor was the video stuff. Second floor, there'd always be the same guy there. He's in his 20s, curly hair, nose ring. Hey, dude, how's it going? You know, watch and make sure there's no shoplifting and stuff going on. It was fun.
Just a laid back guy.
Turtles was a huge chain down south too. I know that I've never heard of them until I started research on this stuff. So
they had a stamp
that's definitely
book?
cool.
That's cool. Cool.
Hungry Heart. That's a cool name. Obviously a Springsteen fan, I would bet, from that name.
Probably.
Terrific.
Probably.
See, I can use all these as good leads.
Yeah, no kidding. Are you writing this? Yeah, are you writing it down? Are you recording this video? Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
I think the reason why record stores fell out, even in the 90s, was it was just so much easier to buy online when Amazon and first CD Now and then Amazon came along. And Yeah, no kidding. Everything's virgin in London.
Richard.
And I always gravitated more toward the mom and pops, and I wish there were more of them. Anymore, they're not. There was one I went to recently, back in right after the lottery was done. I went up and was trying to find stuff for the person that won the lottery, and I went into this new one in Somerville, and I have to admit that it didn't strike me as great because it's mostly punk, which they don't make clear in their ads, and it's up this long flight of stairs where you have no elevator or anything. And I have mobility issues with my knees, so I was in pain when I came home empty-handed. And it's very tiny. Most of the space is taken up by their coffee bar rather than the records. So, but it's an interesting place.
Coffee. I got no problem with that.
The people there were super nice and super friendly, so I can't say bad things about that.
Yeah.
I think preserving these stores is very important. And I mean, truly, the memories I have are the ones that, like, I have fond memories from my year working at Buzzard's Nest Records in Lancaster, Ohio. And that whole chain, it went belly up in the 90s, and it was a good place to work for the most part, and fun times. I mean, it was only a part-time job. That's all they could give anybody. They wouldn't even give the manager full-time.
Yeah.
And but it was fun, and I got to influence a lot of kids.
Wicked evil laugh. Wicked evil laugh.
Well, we lived in Lancaster has this, I don't want to bash religion, but it has this new wave church there. And I actually had a discussion with a kid one day who was kept taking the single of One Night in Bangkok in and out of the 45s. And he was about, I don't know, maybe 12. And I went over to help him. He would look at the 45 and he would put it back, and he would look at the 45 and he would put it back, because he obviously liked the song, and it had a picture sleeve, and obviously liked the song. And I said to him, "You like that song?" He's like, "Yeah, but I can't buy it because my Sunday school teacher says it mentions the devil, and if I buy it, I'll go to hell." And I'm like, so I let him go shopping and went over, and after he picked up and decided to buy it after all, I went and told his mother what he told me, because she was very nice, and she was not happy. And a week later, she comes back in asking for me, and I'm like, "Oh God." And she's like, "No, buddy. It's not going to be happening that way anymore." So I guess this was just one particular Sunday school teacher that was, anti-music and anti-everything else. But
yes.
Crescent Moon, cool. Do they sell online? If they sell online, we'll be putting those up too. All the web addresses and all that stuff. Hopefully the site will do very well. And you've mentioned that you do shop locally at a little record store. You've mentioned Tom, the manager. What's the name of the store?
The name of the store is Three Pillars Music.
Three Pillars Music.
In an older building that's been a little bit divided. It's an old, I think it processed grain or something at one point. Anyway, it's now and I'm going to be kicked because I know that's not right. But it's sectioned off so that there's some retail space. Mm-hmm. And in that retail space, the building is designed in such a way that there are three large concrete pillars that hold up the next floor. And he got, there's three pillars in this room. So that's why it's called that. But it started out as a music store that sold basically just musical instruments. Mm-hmm. And he ended up buying the gentleman retired. He got that. He dwindled down the inventory. He wanted to open a record store. So he just started bringing records in, and that's how it became Three Pillars Music. So it kind of always was that. And then, so I've talked to him, speaking of Tom, I've talked to him about maybe coming on and guesting here and talking about, being the small, mom and pop kind of store or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's interested. He's a quiet guy. He's kind of shy.
It's
hard to get people in front of the camera.
And is there any place else in your little what is it, the thumb of Michigan where
That's
you
over here.
live. That
Oh,
side. Okay. That you can get CDs and stuff now, or is it harder to find? Because I know some chains are carrying them, like Barnes and Noble and whatever.
besides Walmart,
Yeah.
Walmart and Barnes and Noble we don't have.
Yeah.
We have a Walmart, we have a Meijer. And Meijer I don't think is selling them either.
Wow. Okay. That's
I
crazy.
don't believe so, but I can double check. I really have never tripped over music. I've tripped over at Walmart, but not Meijer. And Best Buy.
Oh yeah,
And
Best Buy.
they don't carry that much, but they'll carry what's popular,
Our Best Buy used to be the one that's up at the Square One Mall in Saugus, which is about a mile and a half up the road. They used to have half the store devoted to CDs. Now they have one aisle of music. They're so close to going out. It's scary. So
they will, before streaming, they had a lot of CDs and for a lot of music, and then they had a lot of DVDs and Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And then as streaming became more popular and people still, they did the same thing with movies too. It's
they did.
So
they even shut off the mall entrance. They had an entrance in the mall, and you can't go in that way anymore. You have to go outside and.
Yeah,
and
this is a freestanding building, and it's over by the movie theater. And I think COVID really banged on that as well. So they ended up devoting all the space they took away from media and putting it towards big screen TVs, basically, and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, not a lot. Oh, and phones. They down, of course, cell phone. They're big, so they put a lot of that in that. As far as records, otherwise, there's a couple of mom and pops. There's one, I think, in, I know there's one in Holland. I'm trying to think of where the other one is. There's one in Niles, I believe, which are kind of around us. South Bend area, I know there's at least one or two. I'm trying to think of where else. Grand Haven, there's actually a mom and pop used store that sells new stuff and does record store day and all that as well.
Right.
So I'll be putting those together and sending that list to you. But as far as previous, the rewind part of it, it's kind of tough, man.
Yeah,
tough to find that stuff.
It is. As Angry Otter points out here, Walmart kills mom and pop shops. Yeah, they do. It's a shame, and of course they bring in foot traffic now by having exclusives and exclusive vinyl colors, exclusive pressings, and I can't condemn them completely because they help people get into vinyl collecting. And then it's our job to take them and say, hey, if you think Walmart's good, you got to try these record stores because they're awesome. Knoxville, McKay's in Knoxville, Tennessee. Cool. That's very cool. And very, very cool. Mom and pops are great anyway. And Corbin, Kentucky area. Okay. So we got some in the mid, I don't know. I hesitate calling that mid-South, even though some places call that, because it's actually, I don't think of that as the South. I think of places below Kentucky and Tennessee as South. And it's like, I don't know.
What's interesting too, is you might get, like, you're getting all these different places now that currently have record stores in them or mom and pops or whatever, or kind of right now. Maybe if you really want to do this, or ask the chat people in chat to do it if they're interested in doing it, go talk to those people that own those now and ask them where their record stores were.
Yeah, right? You could do that. That would be great.
I mean, it's like, so where did you, and because obviously they have a love of music, right?
Yep.
They wouldn't be doing this if they didn't love music. I bet they had a lot more wide range of influences and places that they shot or they modeled their place after or whatever.
Definitely. Prog Hat Tommy, welcome. Hi, nice to see you. We're talking about Record Store Rewind and record stores, the past, present, and future. We're looking for people to to come over to recordstorerewind.com, fill out the forms, and help us get a catalog of old and current record stores going. Tennessee. Okay, Tennessee is definitely South. Somehow I think Charlie Grace would probably agree with you. And everybody else that lives in Tennessee would probably agree. I think that those that's a good point, because one thing I did do on the form is indicate whether it's a classic store, one that's no longer there, or a
Right.
current store. We definitely want to promote the current ones too.
Right.
Now there are sites out there that do that already, and that's terrific. And I probably should link to some of them, but I am trying to get the word out that we are doing current stores as well as past
Yeah.
stores. And we definitely want to help everybody stay in line, stay in the mindset of record collectors and CD collectors, cassette collectors.
Oh,
I
sure.
don't know that there's actually, while there are stores, I know there's few and far between. I've seen stores devoted to cassettes. I don't think there's any devoted to 8-tracks out there.
Yeah, probably not. And that's, I would think, mostly because the format itself, as it ages, it does not get any better.
It wasn't
It
great
just,
to begin
it
with.
just because when, okay, here you go. Here's my rant about 8-tracks. When they first came out, they were made really nicely, and they were made well because they had to take repeated rotations through, right? Then they started making them cheaper. Then plastic went cheaper. The padding went cheaper. They went from the felt pads on the springs to the foam pads that's glued inside. And that stuff just deteriorates and it turns to crap, and you can't play
Yeah.
it unless you replace that. So, and then the
You
foil
can't repair those like you can repair cassettes either,
you
unless you really
have to
know
open
what
them
you're
up.
doing.
Yeah, you have to open them up. And then the foil tape that triggers the the track change, that got the adhesive breaks down on that. So there's a lot of reasons why cassettes will last longer than 8-tracks just for
Yep.
those reasons alone.
Yep. And Griotto hit it around the
Yeah.
nose. That's exactly what Record Store Rewind is supposed to be. And I would hope that we will get lots of stuff in there. We got, I've had, a number of people contribute already and do some inquiries about it. And the telephone book idea is really easy to do. I should put a post up about that. I just have it in the video. Maybe I'll put a post up about it. Willow has a great question. Now that albums have been brought back, do you think they will stay, or do you think this is just a temporary last blast before they are gone for good? Honestly, vinyl is here to stay and CDs are here to stay. They may be in shorter numbers over the years going in and out. But I think that there's definitely always going to be a market because people in the vinyl community particularly prefer vinyl over CD, over cassette, and will just continue to buy them the way they have, where they've kept them alive slowly but surely.
I think part of it's memory. I mean, part of it obviously is nostalgia. When you were a kid or whatever, you or your mom or whatever played records. But there's also a large contingent of people that want to have physical media, no matter what form it is. So, I mean, even if it comes down to having, a thumb drive with the media on it, they're going to do it. So, I think there's always going to be people who want to have physical media. So yeah, I think it's going to go on. It might not be as overwhelmingly popular as streaming or, Pandora or whatever.
Streaming is fine.
Music on your computer.
Even physical media in the form of MP3s or WAV files or whatever is fine with me. I prefer to be able to get a hard copy simply because it makes it easier to promote to other people. And I've said this, I've actually brought this up to bands and groups that I have purchased stuff from. I'm like, you guys need physical media. I love MP3s, but I know people that won't buy them. And your music deserves to be heard. And I've been telling people about that for a while since joining the vinyl community. And I'm still trying to spread the word through artists that you should know or other things where people should be listening to these artists that only do streaming in MP3. Do you see, I think a problem with vinyl is the low quality record players. That's one of them. Some of them, the entry models are not great. They could be worse, but I think that it's going to be.
Don't say that. It could be worse.
It could be worse.
They could.
But there are some decent models out there. One of which is actually made by Crosley, and
they're starting to make some decent stuff.
If you are willing to invest a minimum of $200, you can get a good turntable for your stereo system if you have an amplifier and such, or get a Bluetooth one that you won't need an amplifier with.
Now let's not just blame it on current ones. It's not like they're just now making crap record players, and all old record players were great. They weren't. BSR made a lot of crap, and it. Are you smiling at that for a reason?
You want to share one more time with our audience what your first record player was?
Oh, it was a close and play. Thank you. I was getting there eventually. So yeah, if you want, yeah, they made crap that would tear records apart much worse than a Crosley will. So
Yeah.
although, yeah, they're not the best record player in the world, but they'll do until you get something better.
Yeah.
I have a Crosley that I use exclusively for 78s for shellac records because I've set it up so it plays those specifically with the proper needle. Otherwise,
the
it would
right
sound
needle,
like
yeah.
crap. You do need a different needle for that, or stylus, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it needle. And I hook it up to a stereo system with output jacks. I don't listen to the speakers that come in the thing, and it sounds great for that.
Yeah.
And I'll use it for that because I didn't want to, invest in a $200 turntable just to play 78s, which I rarely play anymore. So, but yeah, BSR turntables were crap, and I'll tell you why. Same reason that some Crosleys and cheaper record players are crap. They did not adjust the tone arm weight properly for pressure on the record.
Yep.
They did not, they skated like crazy. They had tracking issues. They were, their mechanisms were just cheap and plasticky. You get noise off of them from the improper insulation and dampening. So there's a lot of record players that were crap before Crosleys. I'm not being paid by Crosley, nor is this a promotional video.
Right. Crosley does try to take care more and more, and some of the newer models have been pretty good. Willow, yes, they will continue to go because as we see on the vinyl community, if you see, we've got some kids in there. There's Jack at Jack's Tracks Records. He's 14, heavy into vinyl, and passing that on to everybody. There's a number of under 18s, and then you have the group that call themselves the youngest vinyl community members that really aren't. They're in their early 20s, but they are also passing on that word and passing down the love for vinyl. And so, yeah, they will eventually pass that on to another group, I think. Not sure, because we're moving from a capitalist society to a subscription-based one. It'll be here, but won't be like the craze now. Yeah, it's going to go back down to about average. It's kind of nuts right now, thanks to Record Store Day and stuff like that. Fancy auto tray record player.
I'm selling that one. You want to buy it? I got my hands on a linear tracking turntable. It was a Sony, and it's a lovely piece of equipment, and I can't justify keeping it because I would, if I kept every record player I like, I would have a shit ton of record players. Thank you very much. So I'm selling that one. But my daily driver, my daily driver turntables are the antique project I have upstairs, which is like the first one they ever came out with. So it's not automatic anything, belt drive, and this little realistic down here that I have that I use for playing, play grading 45s and other records. And that has, it's not bad. It's a belt drive. It's a little guy, and I have an Audio-Technica cheapo cartridge on it, and they work fine. So you don't need to spend a ton of money.
Is there a good suitcase model today, as far as you're concerned? I don't know the model number, so I couldn't actually recommend it. There is a great website out there that does equipment tests all the time. It's called Recordology. Recordology.com. I love the stuff he puts up, and he does great tests with some of the most goofy equipment I've ever seen, including one that's built in a speaker with a needle that's built looking like a truck, and you put it on the record and it goes around and around the record.
Don't do that. Don't use that.
Don't use that. No.
That is a record ripper, is what that is.
It was fun to watch him demonstrate it, though. He did so with a terrible record, thankfully.
Oh my God, don't do it. Please, God, don't. I'll defend a Crosley Cruiser up and down the road before I'll talk about those things. What I look for in a record player, if I'm buying one or looking to buy one or looking to buy one to test, because I'm thinking about doing that now too. It's got to have external feed for audio out. So for speakers, you have to be able to hook it to an amplifier. Let's start with that. Yep. It can have or not have a preamp. I don't care, because I already have a couple of those. I don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. If it's going to have Bluetooth, it should have Bluetooth out, not in.
Yes.
Because it's coming with crappy speakers, and I don't need to hear stuff from my phone on crappy speakers.
Exactly.
Or whatever. So those are the things I look for. Plus, it should be, I strongly suggest a magnetic cartridge versus a ceramic cartridge just because of, I feel their sound quality is better.
Yeah,
So,
we actually covered all that in episodes 1 and 2 of the show, so you can go back and check those out too. When it comes to the not the Bluetooth issue, but the whole issue with USBs, are you? I mean, for me, I want to be able to connect it directly to my computer, and it's easier to do it with a USB than it is with the speaker cords. Some people don't like the USB connections. I don't have a problem with this Sony. It's beautiful. Sound quality is fantastic. But I mean, it's like, that's, if that's important, do you think that I mean, do you think that's an important thing in today's music world, that you need to be able to hook it up to a computer?
I think it depends. If you want to rip music to be like, you're buying albums and you want to rip them so you can play them on, your phone, or listen to it in your car or whatever. Then yeah, you want to have that. And there is, just like there's, you read. Oh,
I just had a memory when you said that and what was said earlier. I'll talk about it.
So you can get, even if you don't find, I wouldn't buy a turntable just to have the USB, because you can find, if you get a chance to get a decent turntable that doesn't have a USB,
you can
buy an adapter that'll do that for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you could literally plug your turntable into this thing, and it runs a line out to your USB. So it depends. If a person wants to rip their music and hear it on other things besides their turntable, then yeah, you want to have that.
So, Julie, when you guys fall below like 60 in the degrees out there, I might make a road trip. Scottsdale sounds like a lot of fun, but I can't handle the heat in Arizona. Sorry.
Well, yeah, you definitely want to go during the fall and spring, maybe not monsoon season for sure.
It's only 90 degrees out there at that time. Yep, young hipsters have been keeping vinyl alive for years now. Very astute.
Crosley from Goodwill for $10, and it sounds great. Yeah,
that's good.
It depends, right? So when I get something like that, before I play anything on it that is any importance to me at all, I check the cartridge condition and make sure that the needle is in good shape.
Yeah, the cartridge.
I then put it on a scale and make sure that it only reads at so many grams, and then I look up what the grams are for that particular headset or cartridge to make sure it's not too heavy, because it will dig into your records if it's too heavy. And that's what a lot of people say Crosleys do, but they really don't. They're a heavier needle or a heavier cartridge. They need to be for that type of cartridge they are. But if they're within tolerances, they're not going to hurt your records. And then I also check the speed of the turntable, right? So you can get an app on your phone.
Yeah, there's several apps on your phone that can do all of that. Yeah.
And that's what I do. I'm not sure what I have. Hang on a second. I'll look it up so you can use it as you wish. Where's my RPM?
I have to be honest. I refuse to get snooty and tell people don't buy anything, because it's all up to the person and how much they can afford. That's the important thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's an RPM because you've got a gyroscope in your phone, and it will tell you how fast it's going when you set it on your turntable. And that I want to know, because you want to be able to adjust it, because too much, if it's not at the right speed, you're going to notice it.
Right.
If you're getting a lot of like up and down of the speed, the wow or whatever, wow and flutter noise and crap, you're going to notice it. So
okay, Myra, where are you getting your information? That's not true. I've never heard that one before. Because you would not be able to play records if they had crushed up dead insects in them. So I would love to know where that came from.
Maybe she's talking about shellac.
I don't know.
Because there was a thing for a while that was, there were also bugs in those.
I
haven't heard about the black vinyl ones being bugs.
I haven't ever heard of that before. Those are both good, Molly Wap. Crosley's a good starter player. If it just make sure that the cartridge and the needle are good, like Don was saying, make sure it's everything's working right. And Audio Technica, fantastic. Everybody goes with those. And there's Sony's.
Even their lower end,
line, it's good too.
Not their $100 cartridges, but like their $20 ones are great.
Yeah.
I use those all the time, and they're good quality. So yeah, I agree, they're great. Makeup does, I know that much. Makeup, yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad I'm staying away from that.
Now, is that on sound quality? Really. Are you talking speakers there, or are you talking just what it does to the records? Because I'm not sure.
Because there's a lot of factors involved. It's not just it's crap or it's not crap, because it could be many of the factors that we talked about. It could. I would never play anything on a Crosley and use the external or the internal speakers, ever.
Yeah,
because they're only this big.
Yeah, I used to do. I started with a General Electric Kitty player, had a little tiny speaker, and that was fine for me as a little kid. But when I got to my teenage years, the first thing I did was invest in a decent stereo system, and that's the way I've always gone since then.
So yeah, well, the reason I do that is because, first of all, I'm dealing with older record players, and even if they were great record players when they were made, age, time, the grease starts to solidify. The needle probably isn't new, so it's probably been worn in use. There's that. The motor can have issues and need oil. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I do that. As far as a Crosley, new off the shelf or new out of the box, I'm still going to check it just to make sure that everything is working properly.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Angry Otter, I agree with that. If it's going too fast, if you got the Chipmunks, that's definitely, unless of course it's a Chipmunks album.
And then yeah.
So
but yeah, there's still decent turntables out there, and Crosley is making some nice one. It's kind of warped. The turntable is off kilter somehow. Seems to play the records at the wrong speed. Yeah.
Have you contacted Crosley's technical service? Because they will. If it's something wrong with the player itself, they will make it right. If it's
yeah, and you don't know where it's been, what warehouse it sat in, or what container it sat on forever, right. And baked.
Especially right now.
I mean, most of those components are plastic, and they used to make a lot of plasticky turntables too, the cheaper ones that you got with a lot of the component systems, or this, where they're all stacked on top of each other. A lot of those turntables were just plastic too. So if they've been exposed to any kind of
there you go.
Extreme temperatures.
I remember those records, don't you, Don? The Disney records with the read along and the chime.
Yes, I love those.
That's what I was going to say. We were talking about players you don't want to get. Do you remember? I've seen pictures of a turntable that was designed for your car. This is back in the 50s that specialized in 45s, and they had the little. Yeah, I know. I'm like, wow, I can't believe anybody would actually try to sell that.
Now remember, they were designed to be played when you were it wasn't moving.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be playing the records as you're going down the road. First thing. But yeah, they weren't great. I mean, they were a novelty, really. I don't think a lot of people bought those. I would hope not.
Yeah, DC, I'd check the manual or check the Crosley website and see if there is an address or a phone number you can get in touch with them, and they might be able to make it good for you.
Yeah, so. I mean, really, it's not that hard for them. They've got plenty of them.
And new models coming out all the time too. So
some of the newer stuff, some of the higher end ones that they're putting out that are like over $100 are nicer ones. If you go on YouTube, there's a couple of guys that have done some reviews of some of the Crosleys that look more like, legitimate home units and not just suitcase units. Right.
Crosley has a bad reputation because of the early ones they started making for Record Store Day back in the, I don't know, probably around 2009, 2010. And ever since then, they've gotten better and better in quality. So they're not terrible anymore. They could be better, but they're not terrible. Onkyo. I remember those. I could never pronounce it, but yeah, those I remember those. I have a Marantz in storage from 1982. I bought it brand new.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get to it. So when I got back into vinyl in the midst of the pandemic, I bought a new Sony, and it's fantastic.
And then speakers. Of course, for mid-range and bass, the more real estate you have, the better it's going to sound. tweeters can be this big, but everything else, the bigger it is, the better it sounds. Plus, the housing has a lot to do with that too.
Yeah. And remember, it's also the quality of the record you're playing. That's how it's going to sound. If you're going to play a vinyl, 180 gram vinyl, it's probably going to sound a lot better than a flexi disc or a record you cut out of the back of a cereal box when you were a kid. Because those do not sound great at all. They're fun to play. I've purchased 3 or 4 of them from you on the 45 bundles. I got to see which I'm still missing one of those Bobby Sherman ones. I want to get that last one.
No, I can't find one. I'm looking for you, buddy. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, only play these records in the record players when you're parked. And you can do whatever you want while you're parked. Exactly.
Yep. Nowadays, I think the kids would probably put their pops on the record on the turntable to spin rather than a Barbie.
Yeah. So yeah, close and plays. They also make there's this vintage record player, I think, that you'd pretty much insert your 45 like a CD, and it would grab it and play it. Don't use those either. They're making them again, and don't use them. They're not good.
All yours.
It's going to handle your record for you. Don't do it. It's not good.
That one's all yours, Don.
Size does matter sometimes. When it comes to audio, yes. I believe audio, yes. Yes, you can get a nice Bose system, and they sound really good, but I'll take big speakers any day.
They do. Bose do sound good and they sometimes
audio.
I had some great speakers that were like this big from Cambridge Audio Works for my computer, and I swear that you thought you were playing a major stereo. It would fill the whole house, and they were great. They lasted about 6 years before they went.
Yeah, so Bose has good smaller petite systems. Harman Kardon does a few interesting configurations for speakers, but I'm an old school girl. I like my speakers big. I like my speakers like. No, we won't go there. Okay.
I don't think we want to do that, dude.
No. Just going to say, no.
It will play. Yeah, you're right. It will play.
It'll play. Please don't.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Unless you've got a piece of trash record. I could sell you a box full of 45s that are scratched to heck. You can do that all you want with them. But don't do it on your good stuff.
And I know what to get you for Christmas, Don. I'll get you one of those little trucks that goes around the outside of it.
Don't do it. It will never touch a record. I can tell you that. If you do, they had them cute. They were cute too. They're like VW buses or something, and they had different styles, and they're cute as shit. I love them. They're great, but I would never touch a record with them. No,
I wouldn't either. I was watching that demonstration, sitting here with my. And then it's like, thank God he used he said right up front, I've never put this on a good record. This is a crappy record.
No, I just cringed. I just kind of curled up in a ball and died watching that. Ugh.
Iowa, Iowa speakers are great too.
And if they do get old and dry out and rip, or they get blown or whatever, because they were mostly made with paper back then. Yeah. You can get them fixed. There's kits that either you can buy and try it yourself. It's a little more complex than you'd think, but there are also people that will recone your speakers for you, and it's worth it if you've got a good set of speakers.
Yeah, again, I have a couple of Marantz in storage, and I have a couple more from another stereo system also in storage. But when I got this new setup, I picked up Edifers, and they're nice. They're really terrific. Yeah,
I have way too many speakers and way too many turntables, I guess, according to my wife. But most of them are on eBay, so I can't complain about that. But the speakers are not, unfortunately. I have too many speakers around the house too. But
yeah. So so recordstorerewind.com. If you guys love to hear your stories about these stories you've talked about in chat, there is a form over there. It says Record Store RSR submission or contribution form. It takes 5 minutes to fill out. Just fill in your handle and your email and send me the info, and I do the bulk of the work on this end. And definitely, if you have anywhere in your possession,
is that right? recordstorerewind.com. It's just that.
That is exactly it. recordstorerewind.com. And if you have possession of older phone books, I mean, current ones are great too. You got a current one and you got new stuff listed. Scan and send me to the email that's in the site or on the show notes here. Record stores, as well as variety stores, electronic stores, department stores, and drug stores.
Yep.
Those are the most likely places that had records, and we can check on them. And we definitely want to include as many as we can, because I would really like to see the site explode the way that some of these other sites similar to them, like Gross, etc., which is an oddball site that is devoted to grocery stores. And they did actually have a section on record stores that they talked about one in the comments section. And so
yeah, I would like to see a bunch of information come flying in on this, because it's kind of cool. And especially, hey, pictures would be great too, right?
Yeah, pictures, it's great. Right now we'll take the listings and then research, and because somebody was asking me, hey, there's a picture online of this place, but how would you use it? And I'm like, well, send me the information. I will get in touch with the person and see if we can use it, because a lot of that stuff is probably out there on Flickr, and it might be out there on a few other places that allow you to post that stuff. Real quick, let's go through these last few comments here. Tables and a microphone. Yep. I'm getting behind. Willow. Didn't know the brand was pronounced like Iowa. I've always thought it was Iowa. I'm not sure if that's right or not. But that's what I've always done. Hubby system is more than my damn house and land.
There you go. And it doesn't have to be to destroy the record, but yeah, that's an audio file. I hate to tell you.
Definitely, absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. We are more of the budget listeners on this show, unfortunately. That's all we can afford. You want to give us a rundown of what you got coming up, Dawn?
Well, yeah, sure. Thank you.
I'll buy more 45s tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow? What?
Sorry, Wednesday.
I was going to say, I don't think I'll be selling them. Yeah. We're trying not to turn Tuesdays and Thursdays into auction days. But yeah, so Tuesdays and Thursdays, Mary and I do a show called Chick Chat, where we do a lot of this. Same kind of thing TC and I are doing, only we're talking about other things in music.
They're in the same room.
Many topics, sometimes all at the same time. And then Wednesday, TC's talking about the Hump Day auction that Return of Cajun Roots Reseller does. And that is at 2 p.m. Eastern time. He runs till about 6. And Mary and I bring a bunch of 45s and other things to that auction. So if you're looking to pad your stash of tunes, you might want to check us out. And then, of course, Monday we're on with Melanie Lightbeam and BMOS for their Death Pile clearance. We were on today at 1 o'clock. And we had a bunch of stuff then, too. So we do bring music on occasion. Like today we had a bunch of CDs we brought. Just constantly trying to clean out the garage. And then, of course, in 2 weeks, it'll be back. We will be back. TC and I will be back on our channel, Two Hip Chicks, in case you didn't find us that way. And TC does a playlist, and I do a playlist, so you can catch up on these shows as well.
Yep, we sure do. Over here, you can check out all my various shows and influencers on Tuesday, and Rank This on Thursday, the Kirkham Report Saturday, and the Pop Retro Countdown on Sunday. I have a couple of new things coming in the next few weeks. And, of course, TC's of Daily Obscuria Vaults, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. New song from the past every day. Lots of memories getting hit and people going, I haven't heard that for ages. That's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
Come over and listen. And if you haven't subscribed to me, please do. You can subscribe up. I'm almost to 500, trying to get to my community tab levels. So get me up there. I did so well during the contest I held that I'm way above where I was when this show started.
What's your 500 giveaway looking like?
No, not.
You might as well start a contest for that.
Well, I still don't even have the second prize winner hasn't claimed it yet. So I'm a bit surprised. So we'll see what happens.
There you go.
But yeah. So lots of other stuff going on with here and with Two Hip Chicks. And we thank you all for joining us. It's been a great deal of fun, and thank you for enjoying that. And yes, you are right. As always, when it comes to Two Hip Chicks, it will end in food chat.
Yeah, usually. Absolutely.
I hope we'll all see you again in 2 weeks at Two Hip Chicks on YouTube. Until then, I am TC.
And I am Dawn with Two Hip Chicks.
and
for coming in.
we thank you for coming by.
Yep.
And we'll say right now, so long. It's very good to see you.
So long, farewell, Auf Wiedersehen, good night. Yeah, there
And
we
all
go.
that stuff, right? Bye.
Bye, guys.